You know, there's a fog rolling in. It's thick, it's heavy, and we're all standing in the middle of it. We're holding these bright glowing maps we bought for $2,000, thinking that the map is the territory. But we aren't moving, and we are the most informed generation in the history of the species. Yet we're paralyzed. We are drowning in strategy, suffocating on hacks, and starving for actual movement. We spent 3 years, $2.5 million looking at this wreckage. We tracked 4,000 professionals, real people, mortgages, families, and we even found the silent killer, and it wasn't the market. It wasn't interest rates. It wasn't a psychological feature that we call this implementation gap, because most people think that they need another course, another bit of information, but they don't. They need a system that installs dominance while they sleep. And today we are talking about software. We're talking about Project Satori. Welcome, Eric. Thank you for being here today. I'm so excited to be talking about this. I'm fuming, man.
Project Satori is going to be a fun discussion for many months, because I finally realized all the work that me and the team have been doing, and everybody that's been part of, Huzi, there has been not a deeper research project that's been done in this industry that's mapped out the intersection between technology and AI, the consumer, best practices, the practitioner in the street, and the industry directions. Like all of the trends of all those things converging at a single point. That's where Project Satori kind of lives.
That's amazing. I look at like what the modern real estate agent does, or a high ticket coach. And I think that I truly believe this, because I feel that at some point in my life, I was in this stage where you're just addicted to the feeling of learning, not the actual education itself, right? You buy a course from this guru, and all of a sudden, this generic AI tool from this top seller that's going to be able to get you X, and then you get this dopamine hit, and then boom. Like, am I doing something? Is this working? Is this supposed to? I don't know what to do. And you're kind of like in this influx of, should I buy more things? Should I invest in this? What's actually working? I feel good for the moment, and then that just dissipates, and you're kind of stuck, and nothing really works.
Well, we'll stay on the real estate industry for this podcast, but it's funny that you kind of conflated, a high ticket coach with a real estate agent, because that's essentially what they're doing. If we really think about it, I don't know if that was a purpose or not, but it's a good thing. But at the end of it all, when it really boiled down all the things that we've learned, I realized really quickly when I just looked at my notes, man, it was just just sat here, just wrote pages after pages, just bullet point. Mm-hmm. What did I learn? What did we learn? What did we find? Mm-hmm. And let's go back that with data. And I did that for a couple of days, and I realized like it was just so glaringly obvious that the industry does not have an idea problem. There's an execution problem. It's an implementation problem. And yet still coaches are selling ideas instead of execution, right? Brokers are still selling tools to the real estate agent and helping them bloat their tech stack like it's still 2006, giving them IDX websites when that's not what consumers are demanding right now, as an example, right?
Yeah.
So, and coaches are still selling the idea of content pillars on social media, where really it's about authority clusters now. Like there's a movement that has to be done in the whole industry, and it just became glaringly obvious that I wanted to be part of that. And so, we want to solve this epidemic of people trying to scale chaos, of getting addicted to education instead of like addicted to the outcomes and implementations. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's what really like this whole, knowledge obesity, information obesity. That everybody's just eaten too much of it and not moved yet, not created enough movement with it all yet. So really Project Satori is about how do we just take all of that knowledge and create executional systems and help install those on behalf and with the practitioner, right? It's that simple. But let's get into it, man. Like where do we want to go from here?
Yeah. I'm just curious because, let's kind of talk about this concept of ideas, like too much information. We need to be reminded more than we need to be educated. I think that's kind of where we're at in this state. But in terms of real estate agents, if an agent doesn't necessarily need more information, they don't need more ideas, or they don't need any more homework, what is it that they're actually missing? What is that piece?
A better CRM just is another tool to a thing that helps you do something.
Yeah.
The future is fractional. Mm-hmm. And a solar practitioner really has to get the idea of like having a fractional COO or fractional CTO or fractional CMO or some sort of marketing assistant. Like they have to fractionalize their business into the things that an AI assistant or an AI powered assistant, most importantly, can actually take action on. So this sort of idea of like teaching courses, teaching classes of what to do, that has proven not to move the needle too far.
Yeah.
That is proven to be. This isn't like, you can look back and we all know the stats of, like, when you buy a course, what percentage of people actually complete the course. If you're a real estate coach out there, if you're somebody that's gotten coaches, you know gotten coaching, you know what it feels like to already be so busy, have your coach hand you a whole bunch of ideas and not have any more time in your day to do something about those things. Right? It feels horrible. And, if you want to start doing something new, you got to stop doing something old. And so part of the process is about kind of decluttering everything and unsubscribing to things and letting go of the way that you used to do it to serve the next generation of home buyers and sellers in this example.
Yeah.
So this isn't a slam on coaches. This is a slam on the coaches still staying in the past, that you're just selling ideas, where ideas are cheap now. Like, I don't know if any real estate agent has crashed their questions against Gemini 3 or Claude 4.5 Opus against their coach, but it's pretty smart. They're going to get some pretty good ideas and some pretty good responses back without paying $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 a month to their coach, right? Again, not a slam on coaches, but there needs to be this personalization of implementation at scale, not just idea delivery, right? And so that's the spot that that's where I want to sit, is like, after you already have all the ideas and after you already know the direction you're headed, like, now let's execute like the new deliverables to you, which would be like reconfiguring the top of your funnel, right? Reconfiguring your messaging to hit the AI-powered consumer today. Reconfiguring your messaging, knowing that there's 10,000% more content being posted on social media, so it's so noisy. How do you pierce through that? Like, there needs to be a reconfiguring of things, not a like forget everything you've done and totally have to rebuild from scratch. Just a reconfiguring,
Yeah.
and it's just, I don't want people to like freak out, like, oh my God, I gotta do something new. No, it's just you take the pieces and components that you're already doing, you reconfigure it in the new way for the new business model. You don't have to forget everything, and it needs to be a little more thoughtful than that, and not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But it starts with recognizing you probably already know what you need to know, but you just know that doing the thing is too much work. You don't have enough time, or you don't know exactly how to implement it, right? You know what you're supposed to be doing. So we want to take the reins there and just do the execution, implementation of those things.
Yeah. I kind of feel it's like we're monkeys trying to fly a spaceship by reading the manual as the spaceship is plummeting down to Earth. That's kind of like the reality of where things are headed. And I just feel what the solution could be is that you need someone to help you build a house for you, and you need an architect, because I can just spitball all this information. I can ask Gemini, plus 4.5, ChatGPT, whatever, but there's no architect. There isn't someone there that is building this infrastructure for me. It gets really overwhelming, because too much knowledge at some point becomes this, you're like trapped in a box. You're paralyzed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. When we built 3 pieces of software, that when I realized, man, wanting to sell agents or small business owners or coaches, software is something we're going to continue to do, but I don't think that's the best service to the industry.
Right.
People want to pay for the outcome. Like, really, when I looked at all my notes, it was really, people want done for you services at do-it-yourself pricing. Right. So they don't want to afford, to pay the $5,000 to $10,000 fractional or the multi-$1,000 a month assistant or whatever it is. But with AI powered thoughtfulness, you can actually deliver like an exponential, more now personalized amount of work if you're thoughtful about it and not need so much human power in that way. So what I mean is, instead of having to pay like for more pieces of software to do things, you can actually have an AI system that augments the process, that just helps you get it done, right? That is actually does the thing, or at least maybe 90% or 80% of the way, and you put on the last little bits of it to make sure it's personalized and relevant and accurate and in compliance and all those things. But not another CRM. Not another CMA platform. It's just another like job I'd have to manage, the CRM as an example. So we want to really like help the in the street professional start from a position of clarity. So Satori, just for fun, we should define Satori is a word for epiphany or clarity or aha, sort of moment. And you have to start with that sort of clarity in order to build not more chaos and not put more band-aids on the business. So the first step is we've got a very detailed intake system that's based on business frameworks. Okay? That's something we should probably talk about. A lot of what business is done is on provable and repeatable frameworks. And let me bring up this list here of actually the different frameworks that I baked into the system. Baked into the system: story brand, OODA loop, blue ocean
Hmm.
strategy, orders five forces, first principle thinking, Six Sigma, lean methodology, jobs to be done, AIDA, which is attention, interest, desire, and action, spin selling, and a few others. So I baked in these sort of like very durable, proven frameworks into this intersection we talked about earlier. Like, where's the industry headed? To be able to create the infrastructure the agent can build their durable business on, what I'm calling durable profit. Like durable
Hmm.
profit is like, even when the market is chaotic, your profitability doesn't have to be. You know, how does it withstand the pressures of new technology and withstand the pressures of the consumer, withstand competitive pressures in a way that's durable? That's what I mean. You build it on frameworks, not on just concepts or fluffy branding or whatever. You bake the best practices with the latest technology into these durable frameworks to create a really repeatable system. I think that shouldn't be underestimated.
No, no, totally. I'm with you. And I think the biggest hurdle is that we're stuck in this kind of loop where we think. I believe that what Project Satori is solving for is what LLMs in the intro of this whole AI, overlap was supposed to solve, which is, oh, I actually get something that can help me get 80 or 90% there. But what ended up happening was it created a lot more confusion. It created a lot more chaos. It actually, in my opinion, I believe that it kind of opened and widened the gap even further because now there's another thing that I have to learn,
Yeah.
another thing that I have to implement into my business, right?
I learned that people don't want to learn another tool.
Yep.
People
Yep.
don't want to, you don't need to have to sign up for another class. That people need that sort of, about, let's just say, there's a reason why people got into the business that they got. And then that reason gets just buried
Yeah.
under the minutia or under the stress, or under the shiny object thing. And I don't know, man. I just think being a part of the home buying and selling process is a beautiful existence.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a cool thing when you own your home and you're part of a home in a neighborhood that you feel a part of and you feel proud of it and it's affordable and it's safe for you and your family or whoever you have there with you. What a cool thing to be a part of in some of these people's lives in that way. That gets buried under like having to be a social media marketer and a tech whiz and a marketing guru and all these sorts of things, and it's not back to the element that made the business such a beautiful thing to be a part of. And I want to unearth that for people again. Give them that clarity, because when you have clarity and you have repeatable systems and durable profit, you have a lot of peace. And that's a part of people's lives I want to be part of. I want to be part of a peaceful existence with people, honestly.
I think there's a big fear surrounding AI specifically and how the future of the agent is going to be. And there's so many people talking about online, right? Like real estate coaches, real estate agents that own brokerages, how like, oh, well, you use my system and it becomes the thing. And it's all it is just a template. It's like it's marketing guru jargon all over again. Like, here's a template that worked for me. I'm just going to hash it out and give it to you, and it's going to work. It's not tailored. It's not customized. It doesn't solve my problem. It's just rehash information that is applicable to you. How can Project Satori kind of mitigate that gap? Like, where is there a difference in that stance? Does that make sense? That question makes sense?
Yeah. So, a lot of people are asking, like, how can I use AI in my business? So I want to answer that question, right? And how
Yeah.
can you use AI in your business, and how can it leverage your business and help make a more transparent, efficient, consistent, readable business for your consumer?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a question that should be asked. But the higher level one that's not getting asked enough, and I would present that now, and that's, how can AI be used on my business? Like, on my behalf,
Mm-hmm.
right? For me. So you don't have to learn and do all of the things. And so one of the things we want to do is, how can my team use AI for you so you don't have to, almost, right? So you can maintain the human element side even more deeply than you are now by trying to use AI to replace you in certain ways. I don't think, and we don't at Huzi, we don't think that's a smart move to replace you on social media with AI avatars. I don't think that it's good to optimize relationships, because on my website, I say that, like, to optimize a relationship is to end it. And so we don't want to optimize things that shouldn't be optimized, like the humanity of the business is so critical. So, so as an example, coaches will sell you their custom GPTs, let's say. They'll say, I'm a coach, I teach you how to have better listings. You can use my custom AI GPTs and it'll help you do it. We at Huzi believe it should be personalized, and you should have a GPT built for you, like, to do it in your way, the way you are in your marketplace. And so it's not just taking the coach's GPT and following their process. Whatever. We want to build your GPT It's specifically built for you. So it's not, you got to answer all these questions and figure out, it's built for you. So part of what we're doing is like through our interview process is uncover and we build out the suite of GPTs that all work together that is built on your behalf. Because my goal is to find everyone 10 hours in their week, just on the first flush, right? 10 hours in your week. You should be able to replace 10 hours in your week if you're thoughtful about the business that you're doing and what you should be doing, and AI enable a bunch of your processes. We can find 10 hours in your business if you're doing some business at all. Then when you find those 10 hours, now let's divert those 10 hours into more higher impact, opportunities to increase the business by 20%.
Right.
You just can't like go to look to increase your business without finding extra hours to do it, to find those higher leverage points. So you have to start with like, how do I find you those 10 hours? What can we do? AI powered workflows, stop doing what's not working, give up the old subscription, stop like just reframing your day. We can find those 10 hours. Once we find those 10 hours, then we start to get really exciting to increase the business by 20%. And that's really what Project Satori is all about, is that sort of metrics. It's not ideas like what are the definite KPIs that we can help you install in your business that we're managing and working towards, so you see a direct improvement of your quality of life and the profitability of your business. Both of those things.
So you're really providing the leverage, because I think the fragility right now comes from these agents that are trying to outwork a machine, and the ones that have truly understand it, optimize it, and then the ones that are just thinking that it's just another tool, but they don't understand how to use it. And I like the keyword that you use, like you're installing a system for them.
We are. Let me give you another software example. We built something called Halo, and I built Halo is because agents and anybody in any business needs to be relevant and be seen through LLMs now and be talked about by ChatGPT and move from SEO to AEO. To teach people all what AEO is and to teach people what GEO is, and even do a piece of software you can manage and it will track everything for you and all that. It's another thing that I'm realizing I don't want to just sell that. I want to just do it for you. Right. Mm-hmm. So I can use the software we built that no other agency has, no brokerage has, no coach has this. So it's not just I'm going to tell you that you need to write authority clusters, you need to have your H1 tags this way and all stuff, but actually physically runs it and does it on behalf for you. And we monitor and manage it to make sure it's done right. Right. That is, then you don't have to learn about it. It's just done on your behalf, but it's highly leveraged. So it's like I said, it's like done for you services at do-it-yourself pricing. That is the future of when I say the future is fractional, it's that. It's that level of like intentionality of delegating with a thoughtful piece of proprietary technology with a human expert that can give you so much leverage. It's insane.
Yeah. If you didn't have that, the algorithm is just going to eat you alive, because like if I Google you and I don't see anything on Google about you, I don't see a knowledge graph, the AI doesn't cite you or your business as an expert, you're essentially invisible. So you're saying that Project Halo or Halo is going to remedy that. And I don't actually have to do anything. It's just installed on my behalf and I get to reap the rewards.
You got to get clarity, man. So I'm going to make sure we sell this right. I'm so glad you went there, because it takes your participation in the digging in the assessment of everything, and the audit of where you are and what's happening, and the inventory of your assets, both digital, physical, software, technology, tech stack, websites you might be on. We got to inventory those things to be able to create the roadmap forward. Mm-hmm. So there's participation in the onboarding of you and your business for sure, 100%. Then there's additional participation in the direction you want to head, right? But part of the thing I've learned really, and by the way, also was a top producing agent, ran teams, ran brokerages. So I'm not speaking as just some tech guy, to be clear, if anybody listens to this. I've coached thousands and thousands of agents in different countries even. And the thing about the business is that you have lots of different ways to make a living in this business, and that creates confusion. Like, which one should I do? Which avenue should I go? What type of agent should I be? And even the ones that doing lots of business, sometimes there's not really any sort of theme between them. It's just you just happen to get a lot of influx because you're a good person, right? And you're smart and you get back to people and you care. And so your phone starts ringing. That's still chaotic, right? That's hard to leave and go on vacation. That's a hard business to sell or transition to your successor and get referrals for a long time after you retire. It's hard to make an asset out of that chaos. So we want to make sure that your business is an asset, not just doesn't just produce durable profit, but is an actual asset, right? So there's participation in those processes and the SOPs that we build on your behalf and all those sorts of things. The scale and growth plan, the hiring plan, if that's necessary, the tech stack installation, there's participation in that. But we do a lot of the research and a lot of the installation and a lot of the creating of the content if we need. We're not going to be a social media marketing agency. We can offer those things. That's not the highest and best value. If people already have an assistant that does their social media, we just want to direct them in a different way.
So what I'm understanding for people that perhaps wants a little bit of clarity, Halo is this engine that takes your actual wisdom, your voice, your stories, your soul, your expertise, and then it codifies it so that AI understands it.
It understands it.
And you get to stay human, right? Because this machine is amplifying your level of humanity. You don't fake it. You don't have to necessarily scale your authenticity because that is who you are in essence, correct?
I'm going to say something on this podcast that we haven't said publicly. It's the thing that we started, doing, and is I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of using AI for you. You're not using AI, but you're using AI for your business, all right? Or it's being used on your behalf.
Yep.
Let's talk about the AI-powered consumer for a second. And if you have a standard sort of agent website and it has IDX on here, listings of the week, and sign up here to get your home assessment and all these sort of typical things that's available, it's no differentiating factor to any of those things.
No.
All right. The AI-powered consumer, before they go to the selection process, they're doing things upstream of you. There's a life trigger that happens. We got to identify what those life triggers that are happening. And then as a result of those life triggers, what are the additional questions or friction points that they're going to research, or the things that they used to ask you and they're now going to ChatGPT and asking? What are those things? Those are the things we got to talk about and get upstream. But let me give you like a real practical example of a link in bio strategy, okay, or of your personal authority site. One of the things I realized how to do is how to use the consumer's AI to vet you through your site. So I want you to think of this, Mo. So imagine like a standard link in bio takes you to your website, right? And you're sorting through all this stuff. Imagine if it says, ask your AI about me. Okay. And when the user clicks the button to go to ChatGPT because they have ChatGPT on their phone, right? That is preloaded with all of the things that we've learned about you and we've extracted from you, your area of genius, your authority, expertise. We package that up and send that to their AI assistant that's now pre-tuned and trained to deliver the best sort of glowing reviews about you than if they were just to go to ChatGPT and say, tell me about Mo. Then it's got to go online and find stuff. You're not in the training data. You have no idea what it's going to say, or it's hallucinating. But when we package it in this way, now we've converted their AI assistant that they trust as a third party to now promote you in a very positive way.
That's powerful. That's really powerful.
It's honestly pretty genius, right? Because we're leveraging something the consumer's using to verify you in a new way. This is what I mean by we can install things on your behalf that nobody else can. Nobody else thinks like this or does this or has these sort of tools like we do.
That's so cool, man. I just see the value is so enormous because A, nobody's doing this right now. B, the ones that actually jump on soon and leverage these services are really going to be able to differentiate themselves, not only locally within their communities, but I think depending on how big they want to grow their business, the possibilities are endless here. I mean, this is, to me, Halo is giving us an opportunity to jump on getting known pre-Google. This is what it feels like to me. This is huge.
The competitive landscape has never been more level and competitive at the exact same time, which is super weird.
Yeah, it's quite the dichotomy.
It's so weird to think about that. And so we, these three pieces of software that we built. Canvas is about strategy. Halo is about being known, and then Spark is about execution. And so we've got these three pieces of proprietary software that nobody else has that we're able to install in somebody's business in a way that is just kind of revolutionary, to be honest with you. And we want to do that with the agents that are here for the customer. That they're actually here to make the lives of the customer better. That's the type of agents we want to partner with, right? Because at the end of the day, I really want to make this a better experience for people. I think home buying and selling is really, really cool, but I don't want to go around the industry and go right to the consumer. I want to partner with the thoughtful, heart-led, professional, knowledgeable, honest, prompt, sort of people in this industry and serve the consumer that way instead of going around them.
I'm trying to, if I'm listening to this right now and I'm a real estate agent or I own a brokerage or I'm in that space and I'm trying to think of the average real estate agent, they're kind of juggling these spinning plates. And what is the very first step that they should be able to take in order to get back those 10 hours that you mentioned every single week? Is it just jumping on Halo? Is it the entire ecosystem? What does that look like? How can they start if you mind kind of touching on that just a little bit.
Yeah, well, what I've quickly learned is that this is why this is a human and AI experience, because I'm not trying to avoid your question at all.
Yeah.
If I give you a generic answer, I sound like any other coach, be like, well, what you need to be doing is these 5 things in your business.
Right.
This is such a personalized business model with agents in different marketplaces, with different goals, with different skill sets, different customer bases, different assets. Some have a large database to work from and some don't. Some have a good social media following already and some don't, right? And so some are at different brands that provide different pieces of the tech stack, others don't. So the first step of that auditing, that assessment, and that inventory has to be done in a personalized way. And that's part of what we do. And if you're not doing it with a company like us, you have to be doing it on your own, right? Or with a coach or something that knows what they're doing in a modern world. If your coach is still saying the same thing they said for 20 years, just know there's a fundamental element of truth to it, because business is business, sales is sales. That's 100% true. But the deployment of it, the execution of it is so dramatically different. The marketing, the messaging, the way to stand out, the way to serve. Because something that the industry doesn't really remember very well is that we're not just in a silo. We're not just competing against other realtors. We're competing against their experience with Amazon and with Apple and with Samsung and with Ford and with LG TVs, with Costco, with all these major. The consumer has interactions with brands all day long. They're comparing us to that, with the technology, the follow up, the follow through. They're comparing us with that. Like these companies where they have a really robust like onboarding, bring you into you have the appointment. There's a great follow up. They're comparing you with that. So you have to be operating at that level, even if you're a solo real estate agent in Des Moines, Iowa. Wherever, pick a place. Portland, Oregon, pick a place. Those are the standards at which we're held at by our customer today. And I want to rise to that. I think we should all rise to that. By the way, and when we use the term like average real estate agent, first of all, I'm not interested in working with average real estate agents, to be honest with you, because mediocrity has actually killed this business for a long time, killed this industry for a long time. Mediocrity and apathy. And so that's why we're seeing there's such a huge gap being created between the top producers and everybody else, man. Because the customers are speaking, and so is the market, and so is the technology. They're going to the ones that are fundamentally operating their business like a business. And you can see it in every stat in almost every market. There's a huge gap being created by the top quartile and everybody else. Bigger and bigger and bigger.
So if you could take over the operations for a real estate team for 30 days, what do you think, in your opinion, are the non-negotiable pillars that you would have to build to ensure that they can survive any market shift?
First of all, top of funnel. We focus on almost like, yes, we should be working on, efficiencies and operations and things like that. Lots of people can do that. We can do that too. And AI is very helpful in that. That still is a zero-sum game. Getting to almost instant and almost free is still a zero-sum game. It's important, but top of the funnel is really important. People are there's lots of technically proficient, but functionally broke, people in this business, right? So it's top of funnel. One of the things that we worry about is how do you speak to, define, and convert somebody into your ecosystem in a new way that's not just your website with, what's your house worth and I got listings that you can look at, right? So we really are more thoughtful about these sort of what we call trust funnels, and we figure out what sort of like assessment can we create? What sort of like quizzes can we create? What sort of like lead capture system that isn't having anything to do with what you typically think about for a home buying and selling, but the ancillary benefit is that you are there when they're home buying and selling. Okay. So we go through that entire process. We think of some really cool examples, like as an example, just to get somebody like thinking this way. If people were, and I've used this example before, but I'm going to use it again here. If somebody was selling something that seems like a commodity, like binoculars, you wouldn't want to spin up a website that talks about your binoculars. You'd spin up a website about bird watching. And you talk all about the purple-headed finch and where you go to look. And oh, by the way, if you want to see it, you should also have binoculars. And here's what I suggest in terms of binoculars. But it's the side benefit. The binoculars are a side benefit of like bird watching. You don't just sell the binoculars. So you don't just sell your marketing strategy, as an example. You just don't sell you're here to help buyers and sellers. You think of the other things that run ancillary to it to be the master of that domain and that authority that naturally convert the home buyers and sellers. Make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's how we think about it. I'm not trying to be too woo-y, but I want people to like really understand the custom nature at which we approach this, because we can do that now. So I have a product called Canvas where I've got baked in the best practices of the industry, everything that we've learned over the last years, everything I've learned of 20 years, and our coaches that we have on the team, the best of the best in the business, and then these frameworks that I talked about, we're able to take your business, turn that through to provide a certain level of clarity, right? And it's not on ChatGPT. It's something we built our own, and it's customized to each person. And so that level of insight is just hard to understand because it's not been able to be done before. You haven't been able to like really transform somebody's business in 7 days like we can now. The way they're thinking about their positioning, their brand marketing, and their authority, and all that kind of stuff. Without funnel operations is a waste of money.
Yeah.
A lot of people go out and spend money on a branding. They get their logo and they get their brand, they get their colors and fonts and all that kind of stuff. That does nothing to attract customers. Might provide some clarity at some point, but it's not the client attractor process. So we have to really be clear about all of your pillars of delivering information. Those all need to be aligned to one cohesive and coherent message strategy.
Yeah. I wanted to add, as important as getting the branding and the to be able to attract customers, I think most people forget or don't even have set up properly is actually the not just attracting, but the acquisition and the back end to be able to continually converse and nurture their prospects to have them become customers. And then after they become customers, what does that look like in terms of being able to continually nurture those people? Because I think at some point they fall off. They just forget that you're dealing with humans. It's like, these are people just like you.
And that's why we don't treat them as leads, as an example. And we don't suggest templated, solutions in your CRM to nurture somebody. Like, who wants to be considered a lead that gets dripped on by a campaign? I don't know. We use these freaking weird words and labels and stuff to dehumanize the process. But to be fair, before you did have to choose between customization or scale, but now you can personalize at scale finally with AI. Before, when we had software, to scale mean you had to templatize and regiment the whole thing in order to build upon it. Now you don't have to. And so each message, we can find a way so each message is personalized. Each reach out is customized and dynamic in a way. And so the nurture is real and relevant. It's not something I decided is my lead capture nurture off my website. I sent up my 5 email workflow 2 years ago and it's still running, right? That's not the consumer experience anybody's going to opt in to go, oh my God, this agent's amazing. I got these templated websites every week saying I could log into their website and view a home. That's not a value, to the customer anymore, I should say. It was, and it was mind blowing back then. It's just a different game.
Speaking of value, I found this interesting because I've experienced it on both fronts, on the receiving end and actually the one performing this. But what you have a very unique twist on it. You have a unique policy where you actually require a deposit just to have an initial alignment meeting, which, first of all, the verbiage, phenomenal, because that's absolutely clear. I know exactly what it is. It's not one of those, conversations that say, hey, this is a discovery call. I hate that term. I think it's absolutely ludicrous. It doesn't tell me what's going to happen. I'm curious why you decided to, A, put a price tag on this alignment meeting, and 2, why name it an alignment meeting specifically and not a discovery call?
The reason for the money is that's part of the alignment, that we're both here, you and me, the customer, me and you, is everyone's to increase your durable profit, right? And do that with a money back guarantee. Like if we don't find a way to save you these hours or grow your business or provide you more clarity or help you get rid of, some overhead or something, then it costs nothing. We refund the money. It's not the deposit is not there as any sort of profit play. It's there for an alignment play from the very, very beginning. That if you open your wallet to invest in yourself, you're way more likely to do the things that you need to be done to grow your business. So it's just
absolutely.
It's part of that. It's the psychology of it. It's just not. It's not. I wish it was a profit play. That sounds great, but it's not. It's to make sure that everybody's aligned there. And second of all, I value people's time, mine included. Right. Mm-hmm. And so if you're paying money and you just don't show up or whatever, then, we're valuing each other's time. We're showing there's a certain commitment here. And that's one of the gates, decided to put in terms of like who's willing to invest in themselves, put a deposit up, put your credit card in with the thing, and I'll give you your money back if it doesn't work out. But it's part of the like offering up. It's part of the ritual of commitment, I think, is important. And I also think on the alignment part of it, we have 3 A's that I go through the process, right? And there's kind of a 4th A as I'm seeing it now develop a little bit. The first one is in like the assessment and the alignment. And then the second of all is you anchor those, the things that you learn into processes, SOPs, pieces of software, people, technology, when you anchor these things and that they actually do, it's not just a PDF that gets created, somewhere.
Right.
You got to take that thing that you learn and put it somewhere. So we anchor it. And then lastly is amplify. People want to get to the amplification step too early, and then they start scaling chaos, and then they realize they got to backtrack and then hire and put band-aids here and there and all that sort of thing. So you assess, you align, you anchor, then you amplify. So we go through that process with them. It's, the first one, like I said, to get the first sort of deliverable where you see results in 7 days, 14 days, and then 30 days. So that's how we're running it. And then, if there's ongoing services that people want or need after that, great. Or software that they need is because they've invested in it, great. But it's really a 7, 14, and 30 day sort of installation.
Thank you for the clarification. All right, wonderful. So last question here, and I'll leave you to it. What does the end game look like for these professionals who get this right? Is it more money, or is it about something much deeper like peace and freedom?
Well, the peace and freedom, is definitely the outcome of it. As a result of doing it right. If you're scaling for the sake of scaling just to be busier, then there's a problem, there's a burnout, that's a path to burnout. So I do think that that's a part of it, Mo. Fundamentally in business, if a business isn't growing, it's dying. We know this to be true. It's true in every business, this business especially. And lastly, the end game is having a durable system that has a certain flexibility as rates change, as market demands change, as your life changes. It's not so rigid that things break when that happens. Okay, so there's a fundamental elasticity that's baked into these things that there's course corrections that can be made. Dynamics, a dynamic business at the same time. And SOPs are thought of to be very rigid things, but there's a certain strength in being flexible that you also have to be really thoughtful about too. So peace is the outcome, and frankly, I hope people just make a whole bunch more money, and it's good people that then do good things with that money, and it goes to their church and their community and their schools and small businesses and locally, and they do good things for the kids. And so good people with more money is generally good for the community. So it'd be really fun to have a bunch of great people with more money for sure.
I think we all need a little bit more money, man. We could do a lot of good with it. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm really, really excited to be able to share this all with you. There's an opportunity right now for those that have felt this friction in their chest, that they know that working harder isn't necessarily the answer anymore. And if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about this, and if you're interested, and if want to see if this aligns for you, please go to heyhuzi.com, check it out, take a look at the information. If you have any questions, you could always email us, you could call us, you could text us. We're all on the interwebs. We don't want you going there to buy something. We want you there to look and analyze if this is something that you're looking for. Look at the engine, see if the philosophy aligns with you. We're only opening doors for a specific type of operator. We want to run that diagnostic. We want to be able to give you this architecture that is ready to rock and roll, but only if it makes sense for you and only if it aligns with you. Eric, thank you so much. If there's anything else you'd like to say, please say it. We want to make sure that it's coming from the horse's mouth here.
What'd you call me?
From the horse's mouth.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's an old saying.
I'm just kidding. No, I know, I'm just kidding.
Now he's giving me shit because I stumbled on my words.
All I'm gonna say is that success leaves clues, and so there's no mystery to why some are killing it and others aren't, or some is more chaotic than aren't.
Yes.
I think that I've come to realize, I think I know this. I think this is not subjective. I think it's objective. That business is a game of personal development.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do put your business up against and with and align with a company like ours, you get this sort of framework where you're able to really grow into, and this is this sort of ladder work that you can really grow with. And I think growth is just a great feeling. We feel horrible when we're plateauing at things. So, being a part of growth in general, if I can help other people and teams and organizations and brokerages grow, that's a cool world to live into. So I'd like to be part of your growth.
I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. I'm excited to have you on the next one, but anybody that's interested, please take a look, heyhuzi.com, and we look forward to seeing you and hopefully on the next one.
See you soon.